A park ticket gets you inside, but there are so many ways for you to add on to your Disney trip, from after hours events to park hopper. Today, Cheryl and I are going to talk about what we have done in the past and what we might consider in the future.
Welcome to Always Planning Disney, where planning is half the fun. I'm Cheryl.
I'm Melissa.
And on this channel, we talk through all of the details that go into making our vacations magical.
So since we've been talking about resorts and where we might want to stay at Disney, and we have chosen some tentative dates, one of the next things that I like to look at is what sort of add-ons we might get to our standard ticket package. So today we're going to take a look at some of those. And the first one I want to talk about is the park hopper. We always get the park hopper because we like the comfort and knowing that we have flexibility to, if we want to jump ship partway through the day, we totally can. It helps us eat at Epcot more often, which is one of my top of my list things to do. And for me, I could do Epcot 2 full days and be totally happy, but not everybody else in my party feels that way. So if we're able to spend a day at Animal Kingdom and still make it to Epcot to eat at the end of the day and have a drink, that's great. And Park Hopper lets us do that. We did have a trip once with Park Hopper where only Ray used it. We stuck to one part each day. It was the only one. We were at the pool in the morning and he just went around to go do all the rides he wanted to do before we left for the day.
Good for him.
It's an extra expense. And if you don't use it, I didn't feel bad that we didn't use it.
I think every trip we think about, should we spend the money on park hopper? And every trip we wind up getting park hopper. It feels nice, like you say, to have that flexibility to hop to another park if we want to. And for our last trip, where we were going back to the resort for naps during the day, it felt a little better to say, okay, we're not only going back to the room and then coming back to the same park. It felt better to be spending that time in the middle of the day when we weren't just coming back to the same park we had already been at that morning. So that I don't know, that was sort of a silly mind game kind of thing, but it made me feel a little bit better about it. And we'll absolutely get it for our next trip if we stay at an Epcot resort, because I'm envisioning us spending the morning and the first half of the afternoon in one park and then going to the hotel for the pool in the afternoon and then hopping over to Epcot for dinner. So that seems really lovely to me. And then we can just walk back in the evening. We don't have to worry about busing back. So I'm loving that idea. And I can't imagine not getting park hopper next trip.
Yeah, I agree. I think park hopper, as we've always done it, and when we haven't fully used it, the extra expense didn't bother me because I like knowing that we can go somewhere else. And just like you said, if we stay by Epcot, I'd love to end the night there and just walk back. That would be a dream. So park hopper is an add-on that's always worth it for me. And it's one that I always do. One that I have never done is I've never done a special event add-on like priority fireworks seating for dessert parties. There were a couple that I had eyed, but I've never done that before. Have you ever done one?
We did a dessert party our last trip, and that was really cool. So we did the fireworks dessert party at Tomorrowland Terrace, where we had seating within Tomorrowland Terrace during the fireworks, and we got there maybe an hour or so before the fireworks began to have like a whole bunch of delicious desserts and things. And that was a special occasion type thing for us. We had never done it before. It was a gift to my folks, and then it was also a way to celebrate our son's birthday. So it was on his actual birthday. He got to stay up late for the fireworks and eat a ton of sugar. So that was really fun. I think it was extra great because we had a guaranteed place to sit. And as we all get older, it's nice to know that you've got a place to sit during the fireworks. You're going to have a good view. So that worked out really well for us. There was also an added value because right around the time that we decided to go for it, they started including alcohol with the one at Magic Kingdom. So before, I don't think it had it. And then this time there was beer and wine, and I drank a fair amount of champagne. And so that was an added value for us since we do have folks who drank in our party, it felt a little more worth the price because it's pretty expensive for just, you know, some cupcakes and things. So it was nice that we had that bonus. The dessert was really tasty. They had also added a few savory options so that we weren't just sugaring up. So that was nice too, especially since my husband doesn't have much of a sweet tooth. So although this was pretty expensive, I would absolutely consider doing it again. And I would consider maybe the Epcot one because at least how it was before, you got to go into Frozen Ever After. So you're kind of saving yourself a fast pass as well. And with Harmonious coming out, we'll definitely want good seats for that when it comes. So I could totally see doing that again. We loved it.
Yeah. The addition of alcohol and savory would make me consider it more because I don't have a sweet tooth at all, but I do like to drink. And I do like savory Disney snacks, and having a place to sit for the fireworks is awesome. A lot of times we skip the fireworks to get on more rides, or at Magic Kingdom, if you can get on Astro Orbiter right at fireworks time, it's a pretty cool view, and we've managed to do that before.
Awesome.
For a drink and a snack, I think a dessert party could be on my list. So moving on after the fireworks, there are the after hours parties, or not really a party, an event, I suppose. And it is a pretty expensive thing to splurge on, especially if it's in addition to a park ticket, because the price is pretty comparable. I have never done an after hours event because it irritated me a little bit that I remember back in 2015, we could close Magic Kingdom on a weekend at 2 a.m. and it was part of your regular ticket. And then in more recent years, we have to leave at 9 to make way for the after hours events. But I would consider it because we really like the parks at night. We are not super early risers, so it just fits into our natural schedule anyway. You know, there's going to be some crowd control. Lines will be shorter. I've also heard that there are snacks included. Is that true?
For some of them, I think there are.
Okay, so back to snacks again. Apparently that's all it takes to get me to do it is like provide a snack and I'm there. But I think it could be something that we consider for like a second Magic Kingdom day, or even at the end of a rest day. If we have some time off, go do an event at night. I think that could fit in. And if they end up having them at Animal Kingdom again, that could be good for us to start because it's a half-day park anyway. And Pandora is beautiful at night. So I would consider an after hours event, even though I have this memory of being able to stay as late as I wanted to.
Oh, that's fair. I can understand your irritation there. And I personally go to bed far too early to be staying there past, I mean, even 9 is kind of pushing it for me, to be honest. So 2 a.m., that's never going to happen. I do love the Maleficent float that they bring out for the Villains After Hours event. So, and I loved seeing that in the daytime parade. So it would be really cool to see the fire going at night. I'd be interested in that. I think I might, just in terms of the short ride lines and things like that, I might be more interested in the early morning version of these after hours events. I can't remember what those are called, but I'm an early riser anyway, so getting some rides knocked off first thing in the morning is very appealing for me.
Another thing I've never done one of the holiday parties because we haven't been there at a time where they're even having them. So it hasn't been something like even on my radar. And I know that you're thinking of going in December. So are you considering doing any of the holiday parties? I
doubt that we'll do the Very Merry Christmas party. I reserve the right to change my mind, of course, but I could see us doing some of the smaller holiday add-ons next trip. So I'm going to kind of see what's on offer, see what they decide to bring back. Since there wasn't a whole lot of that last year, I'm just not sure what's coming back. I also think that Halloween is probably in our future someday because our son had said he wants to go to Disney for Halloween. And of course I said, yes, we must do that. It won't be this next trip, of course, but here in Minnesota, we have an October break in the class schedule. So we could potentially go for maybe a long weekend or something like that and do the Halloween party. So I could see that happening down the road, but not this time.
I don't know if we're during these times where one of those would fit in. I know that this is a wildly unpopular opinion, but I don't care for the fall that much as a person who lives in a place with a very harsh winter. Fall does nothing but remind me that winter is coming. So I don't even think being in Disney would cheer me up at the prospect of seeing like fall colored leaves. It's just not my thing. So
I forgot that about you, Melissa.
I hate fall.
Well, so you always go in February, and these holiday parties have got to be making Disney a whole bunch of money. There's going to be a Valentine party at some point, right?
You're right.
There's gotta be. Minnie Mouse's Valentine party.
Yeah, and they wouldn't have to do a whole park, they wouldn't have to decorate everything for it. They could just do some of those special little smaller add-ons. And that would, there wouldn't have to be like ride overlays, and you'd still have people. I would buy into a Valentine's Day special event probably before I ever would a Halloween one. Sorry. I like my leaves to be green and my plants to be alive, the sun to be warm. It's just...
I love fall. I'm so basic. I love fall.
So many people do. I can understand after like a very like hot, long summer, like the weather cooling down a little bit is always appreciated. But it's like, people, if you live in a place where there's winter, you know what's about to happen. So don't celebrate this. Like, we should be fighting it.
All right.
Well, there's one more add-on to talk about, which happens to be probably the biggest and most expensive add-on there is, which are those VIP and backstage special tours. It seems like the offerings switch a little bit, but no matter what they are, it's definitely a magical Disney experience, both in terms of what you get out of it and then also the cost. So I have not done one of these yet. I have looked at them just to see what there is, but I have not done one. And perhaps in the future, when I have kids who are older and could be off doing their own thing, I could potentially book one just for myself, because for the price, someone has to seriously enjoy it, and that person is me.
Absolutely. We haven't done one yet either. My folks have done one of the Magic Kingdom backstage tours. So they've gotten to see like those cast only areas and stuff like that. I didn't go with on that trip. I was not invited on that trip. So they went by themselves. I hear they had a great time. I'm currently in a heated argument about how long our next trip should be, because I think that we should stay for as long as we possibly can. And I really feel that the ideal length of stay is 12 days for 2 days in each park and 2 rest days plus 2 travel days. So like, obviously. But I did make an argument that instead of taking 2 days in each park, we could easily just do a VIP tour for the low price of about $3,000. So that's another option as well. I will say, feeling like a VIP is really cool. Like having your own plaid cast member to like take you around and tell you all the secrets, that's really cool. But as you can guess from this channel, I love the planning, and I just don't know if I want to hand that over to a professional. I want to be the one who does the planning.
That's a good point. I had one of the other, aside from price, the other thing that had given me pause about these is the amount of time that they can take, because I do kind of like to show up at the park and do whatever it is we want to do. And sometimes that changes in a moment, depending on what's going on, what we're nearby, what we feel like. And so having that block of time that is so planned out kind of goes against my Disney style when I'm in the park.
It's a different park experience for sure.
Mm-hmm. Thanks so much for tuning in. Let us know in the comments if you do any Disney World ticket or package add-ons, and if you recommend them. And remember to like and subscribe to plan along with us. Bye.
Bye.